We want to bring in retired FBI Special Agent Kathy Guida. She's also the Vice President of Operations for global intelligence firm Veracity IIR. And Kathy, unfortunately, we always bring you in when there's some type of incident like this, which is way too frequent. What's going through your mind as we gather these early details?
Just that, once again, here we are discussing the same thing, that our poor kids, are in fear and, a position of anxiety.
And from what we can tell, the football field is where students have been told to gather as part of this lockdown. I could see some people aiding someone who was on the ground, and now we're seeing EMTs run in that direction. How do you get people the treatment they need, get parents connected with their kids, but also make sure everyone is safe in what looks like a very large campus there in Georgia?
Right. It's a delicate situation, and one that, hopefully, and most school districts, most police departments, most counties have trained for. So hopefully they're putting their training to use where they have, already a designated triage area, so it looks like a football field, maybe that designated spot, and the students know to go there. So medical personnel may be also, hopefully, like I said, everybody's been trained on this. They know to go to that spot. They know to assist students. And, those kids that may be getting treatment out on the football field, that could be, a panic attack. It could be, a heart issue, another type of medical issue induced by the fear of, the shooting. So that's why schools, police departments do trainings, throughout the year so that they're ready. And so they should know where their spots are to go to, whether it's for triage, whether it's for relocation with parents. And I'm sure that there are communications going out to parents, of where to go and what to do.
I'm just trying to think through the logistics of that, Kathy, because when I was in high school, my parents weren't taking me to school and picking me up. And I imagine that for a lot of these students, they're used to going home and maybe in many cases drive themselves home. What would be the reason for having parents having to come and pick them up as opposed to just allowing the students to leave at this point on their own capacity?
There could be a couple of reasons for that. Parents are going to be parents and they want to be close to their child, so they're going to show up whether they want to, if the school wants them to or not. Also, they may be the factor of those kids are nervous, they're scared, their driving abilities could be impaired because they don't have years of driving experience of how to stay calm while they're driving that car and, what to do. So by parents coming, that's a calming factor right there for most kids that, hey, my mom and my dad is here. Calm down a little bit, safety's here. And then, a responsible adult can drive them away from the situation. They also might be letting some students leave on their own. Like I said, hopefully they have some practices already in place. They've practiced this. They kind of know what they're going to be doing and how they're going to do it.
We're still looking at the campus, police vehicles, people holding hands as they try to wrap their heads around what's taken place. An incident there at Apalachee High School has led to a lockdown at the school in the district. We have reports of a potential casualty as well as a suspect in custody as we all witness what appears to be, at this early stage, yet another school shooting. We're still trying to gather more information, Kathy, and I'm curious because the school is also saying that, well, actually, let's go ahead and get a report there from the ground. Kathy, stand by for us. CBS News reporter Jared Eggleston is there. Jared, tell us what you're seeing and what's happening.
Errol, good afternoon. As you might imagine, it is a very chaotic scene out here right now. I've been out here for about 10 minutes, and it is just families and parents and friends trying to find answers. Take a look and just show you, this is the school right in front of it right here. And within the last few minutes, we even had another one of the medical helicopters land here at the school. So that shows that it's still a very active scene out here right now. As I was coming over here, there were agencies from all over Metro Atlanta rushing to this scene as they try to figure out just what happened. Now, in addition to the authorities trying to find out what happened, so are those families, as you guys were just talking about. I've talked to several of the parents out here who are just waiting to hear from their kids and waiting to be reunited with their loved ones. And as you know, during these chaotic situations, sometimes it takes time, and that time for these families is definitely feels like hours, I'm sure.
Are you learning anything more about what transpired there on the scene? It looks like maybe we
Trying to learn just what exactly. Are you there?
Yes, Jared, please, quickly. We have about 30 seconds.
Yes. Yeah, so the scene is still very chaotic. Governor Kemp, the governor of Georgia here, has said that he is directing all agencies to find out just what exactly happened here. The school district confirming that an event did happen here, but no exact details yet. We expect to learn those very soon, and of course, we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, Jared, we want you to stay safe as you speak with anxious parents there and, of course, disturbed students who had been unnerved by this. Our viewers are now looking at a statement from Georgia's governor, effectively saying he is making all available resources available to cover this incident on what we understand to be a potential shooting at a high school there in Georgia this morning, with the FBI responding, potential casualties, and a suspect in custody. You're in the right place for all the information on this. Stay with us here at CBS News 24/7 as we now prepare for a special report with more of the latest information. But you're looking at the sheriff vehicle, EMTs aiding potentially injured students, faculty, or staff. And it appears it has happened once again here in the U.S.
Yes, and we continue to bring you the very scant details that we have as we have it. This is Apalachee High School in Georgia. It's about an hour northeast of Atlanta. We know that the school there has evacuated all of the students to the football field. Those students are now being reunited with their family members. All the other area schools are on soft lockdown in the district right now. Parents are being urged not to come to try and collect their students at this time. As you can imagine, there are lots of logistics that law enforcement and school officials are trying to sort through to make sure that everyone stays safe as we learn the details about what exactly transpired there. Any number of casualties. We will continue to bring you the updated facts. We do have Jared on the ground there. Jared, are you still with us? All
Kathy
right.
Guider, I understand, is still with us. Kathy, you were mentioning how experiencing something like this can be unnerving for students, perhaps panic attacks, perhaps, you know, a reaction filled with anxiety. What are some of your concerns as we watch this unfold?
Right. I'm, worried about those students. As a mother, as a, retired law enforcement, my thought is, keep people safe, get them away from the situation. I'm positive that the school will provide counseling, maybe today, tomorrow, definitely all this week, for those students. You want to give them some peace of mind in the situation, and obviously they can see all the law enforcement that is on site. They can see the ambulances, they know people are coming to assist and to help them. And that's what you want them to know, is that, the adults have it from here.
And as one of those adults who, as a former FBI special agent, you would investigate these types of incidences. What is happening? Tell us a little bit more about what would be happening on the ground, because we do know that there are FBI agents there that are coordinated along with local law enforcement, the school district. The governor has okayed all resources as necessary. As we're trying to piece together this puzzle, what does the investigation look like at this point?
So right now, you will have agents on site who are working with the other law enforcement, the local law enforcement, the state law enforcement. They're trying to gather as much intelligence as they can on the shooter, on the victim, in the school and in the situation that's at hand. So you've got people on site working, very quickly to get the information. But you also have those agents relaying that information to intelligence analysts back in the office, and those intelligence analysts are doing, their speediest work and their best work.
And Kathy, sorry to interrupt, but on that point that you've just made, I want to share with our viewers that we do have a statement just released from the White House, and it says President Biden has been briefed by his Homeland Security advisor on this tragic shooting, as they describe it, at Apalachee High School. His administration, the statement goes on to say, will continue with coordinating with federal, state, and local officials as they get more information. So as the folks on the scene are sharing intelligence with the field office. What difference does it make that the president is watching and that he is saying he will coordinate and make sure all resources are available as well?
You know, that's helpful in the fact that the various agencies then know we're all working together. We are going to use all our resources. It's not just one agency having to fund this or supply the people, that all people are going to be working together. So they're going to continue the work they're doing, because right now they're just trying to gather the information, get it to the intelligence analyst who will do the deep dives and the digging, online, through email accounts, through social media accounts. So a lot of work is being done by a lot of people on site and off site.
Kathy, thank you for that.
We want to bring in now former Bergen County, New Jersey police chief and lecturer at John Jay College, Brian Higgins. Brian, as a former police chief, how does a department respond to a type of incident like this?
Well, what we've seen unfold is exactly what we would expect: a massive police response to move as quickly as possible to the scene and into the school. First to stop the shooting, and then to render aid to victim as quickly as possible. And that appears to be happening as we watch this.
It's so disturbing to watch, Brian, because we've all been here before. And if you are a high school age person, you've only lived a life where there is a constant threat of school shootings. The suspect is in custody, though. And we don't always...
Well, a suspect is in custody.
A suspect, at least one suspect, we should say, in custody. That will provide some intelligence and some information on what is still an early investigation. How helpful is that? And how will they be speaking with this at least one suspect now in order to make sure everyone is safe?
It's extremely helpful on two fronts. First, in the investigation into the school shooting itself, how this unfolded, how the shooter or shooters came to be in possession of these firearms, what motivated them to perpetrate this shooting. And then on a larger scale, every time we have a school shooting or a mass shooting like this, we're moving closer to that point where someday we can see these things start to go in the opposite direction, reduce the numbers, and ultimately there will be a day when we won't see these school shootings. You know, you make a very good point about we're here again. I'm a father of a teenager who will start high school tomorrow, his second year, and this is the kind of thing that is in the back of every parent's mind.
What do you tell your kid?
Well, first of all, I tell him how he should react during one of these situations, and I tell him even if it's an exercise, a practice run, or a lockdown, if he's not in a classroom, he's not with an adult like a teacher, that he should get out of the scene as quickly as possible. And we'll worry about any ramifications later on. So that's the number one thing I tell my student, my son, is be aware of your surroundings and then be ready to get away as quickly as possible.
So that's interesting. You actually have had this conversation with your son. You are an expert in this area, and you have an agreement that, in a way, supersedes what the school tells the student at that time, because in your view, it's more important for the student to get away from the unsafe situation.
Yeah, it's more I'm filling in the blanks. You know, if he's with a teacher, he's in a classroom, their procedures are good. I know his school, I know his school security program, but there are those little gap areas, those gray areas, like if he's in a hallway, if he's going to the bathroom, if he's not around teachers. So I just kind of fill in the areas, but it's many of these schools have good protocols, they have good security programs, they have relationship with local police, and it's good for the students to follow those. But I want him to also think on his own.
It's a really interesting point, and parents all have to make these decisions for themselves.